welcome to the Ice Winner pregame warm-up, presented by Scott Credit Union. Your sing.
Blue Note Hockey Fan Report. Yes, I am Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan. I'm your host on the Hockey Fan Report. It is Game 7 Saturday. 3 Game 7s. One is already done. One is about halfway in the books. And there's one more to go. There are 2 tomorrow. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Yesterday, the Florida Panthers eliminated the Washington Capitals in 6 games. Yes, they did, and Ovi was not very happy. Did not think that they played very well at all. The Bruins have been eliminated in, Leia is in a very bad mood. She's screaming her head off. She's mad that there's so many Game 7s. He wants the Blues to play today, and they won't play till Tuesday. At least that's what I'm hearing. Oh my goodness. What a great time. I'm working on a preview special for a series preview. It looks like it's going to be Monday. I have at least one Avs fan / writer podcaster that's going to be on. I'm looking for a second one. Hopefully Lance can join me or Ashley can join me, or we'll have Ashley moderate the 4 of us. I think that's what we might end up doing if we get 5 guys. We'll have Ashley be the moderator. Let her handle that, and we'll kind of go from there and see what happens. Right now, the Tampa Bay Lightning are on the verge of eliminating the Toronto Maple Leafs. 20 minutes left. I got 4 viewers. I got 5 now, so I can sing. Sing for your hockey viewers today. Yes, sing. Oh, I can't remember that song. Hey, my singing ain't that bad. It could be worse, you know. At least I have a little bit of tone. It's not like sing and my heart will be happy. No, I'm not that bad. Oh, it's Tammy. Oh, Tommy. I read that wrong. No, that's Tam. That is Tammy. Is that Tammy or Tommy? I can't see. It's Tammy. Tammy. Guys, I actually don't want the Leafs gone. I'd like the Leafs to be. I picked the Leafs in 7. I actually picked the Leafs in 7. I think the Leafs are the better. I mean, and this is a series I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I just felt like, that it can't go on forever. The 2 things, the fact that, Tampa Bay has won 8 straight series, at some point that's got to go. And then, that Toronto hasn't gotten out of the first round since Pope John Paul II was singing. I just felt like it was time, right? Something, and that's why I thought that this one would be a 7. I don't think the Leafs, my big one is tomorrow. Tomorrow is the big one for me because I have the Rangers making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I have to have the Rangers beat the Pens, and man, I've been worried about that one. The story so far, Vince is here. Leafs are better talent wise, but Tampa Bay has experience, and that means a lot. Oh, it does, Vince. Oh, it does. So I hope you remember that come Monday. I hope you remember that come Monday. I really, really do. Oh, Wendy, no, Wendy, not this time. You have no rooting interest. You have to root for the Blues now. Oh, Ryan. I want the Lightning gone. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'd like to see my bracket hang out because actually I picked the Avs to go all the way. I know, bad me, but you know what? That's the good thing about it. If the Avs end up beating the Blues, okay, at least I still got my bracket going. Oh, you know what, Vince? Okay, Vince. You know what? Then I got to ask you a question right off. You just shot yourself in the foot, dude. You just shot yourself in the foot. Tell me what experience the Avs have. How many players on the Avalanche have a Stanley Cup ring? I'm waiting. You tell me. I want to know how many Avalanche have a Stanley Cup ring. Dun, dun, dun. Actually, the game is probably going to be on Tuesday. Monday, the Blues are practicing in St. Louis. So right now, everyone thinks that it'll be on Tuesday. I think the NHL is going to give teams the day off and then start them on Tuesday. I don't think they're going to start anybody on Monday, to be honest with you. I see Tuesday, Wednesday is the start date for the 4 series. Two on Monday. Is that right? 4 series? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday. That way they can go them off. Hey, Vince, I'm waiting. I don't hear you. You know how, and we don't know yet, Chris. We don't know yet, right? I mean, I'm going to bring up. Look here. Leaves are better talent-wise, but Tampa has experience. That means a lot. Okay, you could put 2 other teams here. Avs are better talent-wise, but St. Louis has experience. That means a lot. Yeah, you say St. Louis Avs in 5. I couldn't see. There's no way. There's no way. I'm using your own words against you. Right? No, the series will not start Monday night. I already know that. The series will not start Monday night. And you know what? And you guys can chomp on me, right? Well, wait, but where's no. Back to your comment, Vince. Let's not get off the subject. How many of your Avalanche have Stanley Cup rings? How many? I think I know the answer. I think I know the answer. Right? Great. So are other players on the Blues. Right? Tarasenko is at an elite level. O'Reilly is at an elite level. You have 1 scoring line. We have 3. This is a 7-game series. This is a 7-game series. 7-game series. And I think there's 13 players on the Blues that have Stanley Cup rings. Right? I'm sorry. And you said it yourself that the experience means something, but you're going to say that in 5. They do not have 3 scoring lines. They do not have 3 scoring lines. They have 1, maybe 2. Okay, who are the 2 players with rings? I couldn't think of any. Right? I couldn't think of any. They don't have a goalie with the ring. They don't have a goalie with the ring. They don't have anybody. Oh, wow. Oh, that looked dangerous. Oh, Campbell's down. Campbell just got ran into. He is hurt. He's hurt. He's trying to skate it off. I believe the Avalanche have a lot to prove too. Avs have us definitely. That's what defensively. I don't think they have us defensively, right? I don't think they have us defensively. Do you know what the Avs power play percentage was against the Blues this season in 3 games? 9%. 9%. 9%. That's how good it was. They scored one goal. I'm telling you, this series is not what everybody thinks it is. This isn't the Avs or, oh my God, the greatest fucking team that ever existed. Oh, pay down to the Avs. We're not worthy to the Avs. We're not worthy. No, this is not that. Right? Avs have question marks. Kemper, Bennington. I'll take Bennington every day of the week. Every day of the week. Now, I have said, and we're going to talk more about this on Monday, but I have said that when you look at the league, you know, the difference between teams is minuscule. Unless you look at it under an electron microscope. And when you look at the playoffs under an electron microscope, you look at the Predators and the Blues. Okay? They are under an electron microscope like that. This is not going to be one of them, oh, we're just going to score 6 goals in 6 seconds type games. Right? Right? It's not going to happen. The Avs are in for a fight. They're rusty. They've been resting. The Blues are going to take the first game. I almost guarantee it. I almost guarantee Blues win that first game. Right? They just won their series. They had one day off. They practiced yesterday. They'll practice tomorrow. They'll practice Monday. And then they'll fly out Tuesday. Or they'll fly out Monday night. Be ready to go Tuesday. I think St. Louis has they have better than a puncher's chance. I think this series, well, here you go. Money Puck had the Wild 60%, almost 70% to beat the Blues in that series. 70%. I think that they're less than they're at 60% for the Blues Avalanche. Tells you something. Let me take a look at something here real quick. There we go. I'm going to pull it up here. But I'm telling you, this isn't, you know, the 9 Avs fans, you guys need to hold on to things. Things aren't going to be as easy as you think they are. Right? They have it 69.4 to 30.6. They had a little more with the Wild. But they had the Wild at 60-40. Right? And the Blues still advanced. You know, I think the Wild are in for a surprise. I think Avalanche are in for a surprise. I really, really do. Chris Knight's not giving the Blues any love. That's how I know she talked about with people hurt, Colorado fans are absurd. Let's see how this goes. You know, I can't wait to talk to the Avs podcasters on Monday, right? And see what they think and hear their words. This isn't what everyone. This isn't going to be this cakewalk that Avs fans think it is. First of all, they're going, look at the last game. Yeah, you won, but it was 6-3. It wasn't like it was a blowout. And second of all, I think the Blues, the last 2 games of the season, didn't play. I don't think I think that they rested guys. The Avs didn't. I really think the winner of this series will represent the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm concerned about who gets through before that happens, Justin. Yeah, you had it way easy with Nashville in the first round. I agree with that. Billy Joe, Blues are the deepest team in hockey. Barbashev and Kyrou on the third line. Yeah, that's what I agree. Ian, come on, join us. Ian, I sent the link. Come on and join us. Well, now we know why we won Game 6. According to many, the Blues are definitely the underdogs and about to get a rude awakening. I'm with you there. Blues have more offense than the Avs, first through third line. Oh, I absolutely agree. And I don't think their defense is as far below the Avs as everybody else thinks it is, right? The Avs defense, I was looking at some numbers earlier. Let me see if I can pull them up again. Give me a moment. I'm going to have to do something. Right? Again, what's the blue? I was thinking about working on an article called "The Blues Are What We Thought They Were." Right? You guys know on this show, Lance brought it up so many times, time after time after time, that what you do in the regular season doesn't matter. Well, you know what? It does. And it did matter. The Blues played Minnesota very, very well. They beat them majority of the time. They were better on the special teams all around. And that is exactly what happened in that series. That series, special teams won that series. Right? Blues are a great special team. Okay. So let's look at something here real quick. For the season, goals for per game. The vaunted Colorado Avalanche, the best team ever, was fourth at 3.76 goals per game. Wow, there were 3 teams better than the Avalanche? Wow, I didn't know that. Who's better than the Avalanche? Well, the best team in the league at scoring was the Florida Panthers at 4.11. The second team at scoring was the Toronto Maple Leafs at 3.80. The third team that is above the Colorado Avalanche is the St. Louis Blues at 3.77. Oh my! That's right. The Blues can score. They had 9 20-goal scorers. Nobody else did. Brad, it looks like they will start playing on Tuesday. That is the best guess that I have. From the information that I've been able to find right now, the NHL is keeping a lid on things until the Game 7s are over tomorrow. I'm not a Blues fan. I just think the Blues are better from top to bottom. Philly Joe, I agree with you. I do too. I do too. You know, my Avs buddy here, my Avs troller here, came off and said earlier, I thought this was so funny. The Leafs are a better talent-wise, but Tampa Bay has experience, talking about this Tampa Bay Lightning Toronto game. And I thought, wow, maybe you could do that a little bit you could change some words in there and go, the Avs are better talent-wise at the top, but St. Louis has a way more experience, and that means a lot. To me, that's exactly what it comes down to. Right? You know what, E? That's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. The season does matter. Because the Blues, remember this season, how big of a deal they made about the Blues scoring 4 goals or more a game for like 10, 11, 12 straight games? Right? In the 4 games they won, they scored 4 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals, 5 goals. In the 2 games they lost, combined, they scored 3 goals. That's the exact team we saw in the regular season. The exact team in the regular season. They were the second best power play team. They're one of the best teams in the playoffs. In the regular season, they were the 5th best penalty kill teams. They're one of the best penalty kill teams in the playoffs. They are exactly what we thought they were. The regular season matters. It absolutely matters. All this playoffs, it matters. I said during the playoff preview, I don't see any of these series going less than 6 games. Boy, I was close. 7 of the 8 series went 6 games. 1 series, and only 1 went 4 games, and that was the Colorado series. and the Predators are down to their third string and fourth string goalie. Right? These playoffs are a lot closer than you think they are. All right? Ryan Green, what was your last comment, buddy? I kind of went on a rant there, so I didn't see it. Okay, Colorado fans probably look at the sweep the Avalanche did to us last time. We played them in the playoffs and think it's going to be easy. The team is different, and I bet those fans know nothing of our improvements. Well, first of all, I'd say 80% of the Avs fans are bandwagon fans and couldn't name 6 Avalanche players. Other than the top ones, they couldn't name anybody else. And that's not a knock on them, that's just the truth. The absolute truth. They are a bandwagon. Look at them before the last 2 years. You know, the Blues would go up there and you would hear, "Let's go Blues." In the Avalanche, it'd be 60-40. Right? The Blues fans would fill that place up. The Avs do not have a very solid fan base. And that's a cronky team for you. Right? And this isn't the same team. I sent a link, Lance. I'd love for you to come on if you can. You or Ian. Absolutely, I want you on, buddy. Absolutely. Get us warmed up for the preview we're going to do on Monday. Excuse me. Man, come on, Toronto. I need Toronto. I cannot have Toronto blow this one on me. Right? What's going on? What's going on the night shift? Hey, Facebook user, how are you? I don't know who you are. I sent Lance a link. Hopefully he will pop up. If not, he'll tell me he don't have a link, but I'm pretty sure I sent one. Let me resend. Resend to my buddies and pals. I sent a link. Yep. Lance seen it, so he should be popping on. He's probably running up and getting his stuff together and getting all set up, but Lance should be popping on. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is going to be fun now. Please welcome my friend, my pal, and the guy with tears in his beers, Ian Oman. Hello, Ian. How are you, my friend?
Good. How are you guys?
Not bad, not bad. Are everything okay, man?
Oh, it's fine. Hold on, I'm just trying to figure out my audio here.
I missed Tammy's last comment. Okay, and it was reported today by JR that could possibly be back. If I heard, what I seen was possibly maybe. To me, that's just that's speak. I don't think it is. Oh, Mike Marino. Mike, wherever you're looking at this, if you look at the top, the post where I put all the information about it, you might see a little thing where it says see more. If you click on that, it'll tell you, hey, I'm going on Facebook. I'm using StreamYard. Click here so I can see your name. If you click there, then I'll get to see it, buddy. Right? So please do that for me. It's really great. I figured you being a first responder, you had to respond to a lot of bridge calls.
Yeah, that one was, that's exactly what happened. So funny story. I was like, you know what? I sitting down and getting ready to watch the game, and then boop, it comes off, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever, booty calls. But I mean, I quite honestly, I guess I'm kind of glad I missed the game because it looked like it was, from what Michael Russo said, it was an absolutely abhorrent showing by the Minnesota Wild. So
No, it was not.
Well, now what do you guys want to talk about? Because I have a few things I could talk about. I could talk about
we're going to talk about that Minnesota. We're going to talk about the Minnesota one right now, right?
Sounds good.
First and foremost, Minnesota did not come in and lay an egg. They did not play a bad game. They got out freaking played. There you go, Mike. Got you, bud. They got outplayed. There's a big difference between coming out and laying an egg and being outplayed.
Well, I didn't know. but all I can go by is what Michael Russo, and Michael Russo was absolutely hot after the game because, I mean, it's every year, isn't it? Minnesota, it's like it's purgatory over here. I don't know what else to tell you.
I think here's the thing. But be honest. I mean, if you're a Minnesota fan and you're all upset about them losing that series,
I won't say I'm upset because I have some thoughts when you're done. Yeah.
Okay, if you're a Minnesota and you're upset because Minnesota lost that series, you need to sit back and do a reality check. Because, and I said this from the effing get-go, the Blues were the better team.
And I think
they were the better team. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump over you.
No, well, here's the deal. I think after it's been a couple of days, being able to take a look, sit back and take a look at the series and really look at our team. I think what you saw was our center depth. We were able to do it in the regular season because they were good enough to be regular season guys. But when it came to playoffs where you have to hit that extra gear, they couldn't get past that where they needed to be. Okay. You could tell the center depth. You could tell that we were lacking that right shot threat on the blue line, even though Spurgeon's okay and Dumba's okay. And then you could also tell that our goaltending wasn't quite up to par. Our team defense wasn't there, and it was apparent in that series. And I think Wild fans, now that we get to sit back and look, we're like, okay, yes, they were definitely the better team, and I think it's quite obvious. I mean, after that game 6, I did go back and I watched the third period after because I was able to watch like some replays and stuff when I got back. But yeah, I mean. That was total shutdown domination, and yeah, that's just how that ended up going. But for the Wild, I mean, for the Wild, this is going to be a big offseason because this is a transition year. I mean, I think this last year, this year is probably a lot of stopgaps. I know we have Goudreau and Hartman signed still for a while, but I think maybe Fleury is probably not going to be back. I would be surprised if Guerin doesn't trade either Dumba or Fiala or maybe both. So this is going to be really interesting to see what happens for the
Talbot ain't coming back either.
And I think he's a stopgap and Jesper Wallstedt in the SHL is as close to a sure thing starter goaltender as your prospect as it's going to get in the NHL. I think what Guerin's thinking is that Talbot's kind of a stopgap was what they're thinking. So I imagine.
Yeah, well, no, his wife put out a post basically that said we're not coming back.
Yeah,
right? Home is wherever you are. Love you to bunches. Can't wait for our next adventure.
Yeah. Well, I missed that because I've been.
Cam Talbot will be back because he's under contract till the end of 2023.
Yeah.
Trade. He will be traded in the offseason. I guarantee it.
Well, and I think what the Wild.
Who else are they going to get for $3 million a year? That's a good backup or a starter that can start half the game.
They've got a guy down in the minors, right?
Yeah, but he ain't. Yeah, they still need somebody to back him up.
Well, we have Hunter Jones and Derek Barabo, but those guys don't quite look like they're ready. I believe we also have Zane McIntyre, who's not really. I wouldn't consider an NHL goaltender.
Who so?
So either what we do is we sign 2 NHL veteran goaltenders, and we sign Wallstedt, and he's going to play in the AHL next year. Wallstedt will. Or we bring Fleury back for like $4 million and he plays, and we sign another veteran goaltender. Because I don't think it wouldn't be fair to just throw Wallstedt in the AHL coming straight from the SHL. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's that good, but I don't. That's just unrealistic to think as a Wild fan that would happen. But I think what's really important for the Wild this offseason is that if you're going to trade Dumba and Fiala, you need to get something that to improve your team. Because with the Wild's cap situation, the problem is that I think personally Fiala. I don't think that Fiala should be getting more than $7 million, especially not after that playoff series that he just had, where I think he showed his true colors, and he played the regular season like he was playing for a contract, and then you could really tell that there was just something missing in that playoff series. I don't know. This is just going to be a Wild offseason for the Wild. I see a lot of Wild fans questioning, are we going to fire Dean Evason? That's obviously like a fire reaction because that's just.
Well, Dean Everson got out-coached.
Oh,
he got out-coached. And by the way, it looks like round 2, everything that I've been told is Tuesday. and it'll be an 8:30 game again in St. Louis.
Interesting.
Right?
And
it will be an 8:30 game in St. Louis.
By the way, also
Right?
guys, congratulations on moving on. I don't want to seem like I'm like mad or nothing about it because it's
No.
it's whatever. I mean, like I said, I've kind of learned to not care as much about sports as I've gotten older. Just because,
No, you care about it, and you know what?
Oh,
I'm glad
sure,
that I probably had this been reversed. I don't know if I'd been so cordial, to be honest with you.
Well,
right?
And I know I was for Dean Evison putting Talbot in for Game 6. Looking back on that decision, that was not a good decision. It was a bad switch because they tried to do a Berube thing where they tried to switch him like Berube did, right? But he'd been sitting for too long, and you could tell that was not a good idea. And I feel like I'm trying to put it. How do I put this?
The Letty goal was proof of that.
Well, and it was like a different situation. When you switched out Bennington for Huso, you were switching in for somebody who had already been there before.
Yeah.
Right. And they were ready. But Fleury was that guy for Minnesota. He was the one that had been that before. So switching out for Talbot didn't really make sense. And it was a desperation move. It wasn't a calculated move. I think Berube knew what he was doing when he switched over to Binnington. He knew that how Binnington was able to play the puck behind the net, which I think was a big part of why the Wild lost.
It's exactly why the Wild lost.
In fact,
and I don't mean to cut Lance out. I'll let Lance talk, and then I'll go with some stuff. Go ahead, buddy.
No, it's okay. I'm just sitting here listening. No big deal.
Okay, well, then I'll go and say what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
That series turned on two things, right? And it turned in the same game. It turned within 10 minutes of each other. The second goal, that bouncing goal off of Saad, really took the wind out of Minnesota's sails.
In that Game 5 you're talking about?
Yep, Game 5.
That deflection goal from Kyrou. Saad.
And then, well, it's not only that. Then, so in the last minute of that second period, it's like some of that wind came back, right?
Oh yeah.
And Minnesota had a good flurry at the end of that period, right? And that should have carried over into the third.
Well, and there was in the third Tarasenko goal. I mean, there was 4. I'm sorry. You go. My bad.
Well, you're about to get where my main thing is. In the third, the beginning of the third, where Minnesota should have had that carryover. The puck goes behind the net. Fleury stays in the net, doesn't play it. Buchnevich goes down deep.
Middleton
gets the puck, passes it out to a wide open Tarasenko.
Coverage by Greenway there.
In the house, a brick wall wouldn't have stopped that goal. It would have knocked the brick out and gone in.
Well, and that's just the thing. I mean, that was a miscue by Fleury and Middleton. They didn't communicate well enough. And then Greenway missed the coverage on Tarasenko. Whatever way you want to paint it, that is Greenway's man. And I don't think I was on after Game 5 because I was gone for most of that game as well. But that was one of my things. Watching the replay of the game, it's like, well, that's just a mistake you can't make. Those are, and I think it's apparent because, and the problem is, I feel like Dumba's value is about as good as it's going to be right now. He's a big locker room guy, this is probably the one thing that's maybe he might stay on the team because of that. But I think he had a better season this year, and I think if you're going to trade him, I think his value is about as high as it's going to get. I think you could possibly get a second round pick for him, or maybe
the thing that I think Minnesota needs to look at first of all is you have to understand that this wasn't a bad series loss. Right?
And I know you guys are a good team. That's the thing, but
it's not that we're a good team. It's not we're a good team. We could be a crappy team and beat you, and it still wouldn't have been a bad series loss. The reason being is we're your hump, right? We're your hump, and we have been for a couple of years now. If you go and you're building up to that point, you took second and third in the division, second this season, third last season, in a division you were not even expected to challenge for.
Yeah.
Well, you took the steps. You took steps forward.
And
the problem is you have a juggernaut that has your number. And you have to realize that and not take big swings, little pinpricks.
And that's
if you take
that's
a
what I'm
big
getting at.
swing, you guys miss the playoffs next season.
And that's what I'm getting at. I don't think I think if we trade somebody, it should be either Dumba or Fiala, because what I'm saying is that our cap situation is so terrible next year that one of those two players I think has to go. Maybe Guerin sees it differently, but I think one of them cannot come back. Personally, I would rather keep Fiala. I know you could probably get more for Fiala, but even though he did not have the best series, he's the better player out of Dumba and Fiala. I really think that with our defensive depth and some of the prospects, which I know people say it's stupid because you can't count on prospects.
Yeah.
But with some of the people that we have coming up, I really do think that we can afford to maybe fire a Dumba off into the sun for try to get something for in the future possibly, or maybe even now, maybe package something for maybe a second line center or something like that. But I think if the Wild want to do anything, they need to improve their center position. And we also don't have a right winger for whatever reason, which I think is also pretty big.
Well, you got some other things that I think you can tweak, but I want to ask Lance this question. Lance, and this is simple, and I answer this the way that you think is the best for you to answer it. Did the Blues win this series, or did the Wild lose this series?
The Blues won the series. I just think overall, like we talked about last night, I think the Blues from line 1 to line 4 are better than the Wild. Their top lines are close, very close. If you're a Minnesota fan, you're going to say the Wild have the better top line. If you're a Blues fan, you're going to say the Blues had the better top line. I think they're so close, you can't really call it. I think the Blues second line's better. I think the Blues third line's way better. And I think the Blues fourth line is night and day compared to the Wild. I think if Jordan Binnington starts games 2 and 3, then this doesn't go 6 games. It's like, that's why I wanted Binnington to start the series. Nothing against you. So he had a big game, but the Blues won this. I think the Wild played well. I think they played their system. There were times when the Blues got them off of their system because it's very similar to the same system the Blues play. I just think the Blues were the better team in the end from top to bottom. Not saying the Wild don't have skilled players at the top of their lineup. They do. But lines 2 through 4, in my mind, the Blues are just clearly better in those lines. And the goaltending in the long run was better for the Blues.
And I think that's not a stretch at all. I mean, it's for, if I'm being 100% honest as a Minnesota Wild fan, I really truly think that there was really only 2 players on the Minnesota Wild that were locked in, and they from game 1 to game 6. And that was Joel Eriksson and Kirill Kaprizov. Those were our 2 best players on the ice every single time that they were out there. I think you can make a case that Kaprizov was even the best player on the ice for the entire series. But at the end of the day, you can't have one player carry an entire hockey team in the playoffs. Kevin Fiala disappeared when it mattered most. Our entire second scoring line was basically shut down for the entire series. Greenway, Ek, Foligno wasn't bad. I think they could have still been better, where it seemed like kind of game 5-6 when Binnington went in, our forecheck was kind of shut down by Binnington. So it really hampered the effectiveness of that line because, they get in there. We're a forechecking team that really is really good against the boards. So when you have somebody that when we put the puck in to get our forecheck going and it just goes right back out, that was really apparent in games 5 and 6 why the Blues had so much more success, especially in that third period for the Blues.
Yeah, well, it's not just – there's some other things that happened that got brushed over, and I talked a little bit about it earlier. The Blues are what we thought they were. And I know that statement sounds like, I know, and it's a nod to the late Dennis Green of the NFL when he was with the Phoenix Cardinals about the Bears. But when it comes down to it, at the beginning of this series, everyone said throw out the regular season. Okay, you can do that. However, let's look at something. In the regular season, they made a huge deal of the Blues scoring. In games, they scored 4 goals or more. They did it like 13 straight games or something like that, right? I know I might be high on that number, but it was a huge number of games.
I think that sounds pretty close to right.
Right, where they scored 4 goals or more.
Yeah.
And I think they didn't lose any of those games.
Well, never been shut out still. So
right? Or they might have got an OT loss, right? They still haven't been shut out. There's another thing. in the 4 games they won, they scored 4 goals, 5 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals.
Yep. And that's a great.
Wait. Isn't that what they did in the regular season?
It is. And that's
okay.
Case in point there. I see what you mean.
Right. In the regular season, the Blues had the second best power play. They scored a power play goal in all 6 games, and they scored 2 in 2 games. They had 8 power play goals. I think they're like at 30%. They were 25% in the regular season, are what they thought we were. They are what we thought they were.
Yeah.
Penalty kill. 5th in the league. 80-something%, right? 83, 84%. They only gave up 4 power play goals in this. Disciplined team. They did not give up a lot of penalties. Or when they did get penalized, they basically kept the puck out of the net. This was a tight called series. And by the way, Toronto has 1:10 left in their season. And I'm gonna suck because I had Toronto in 7. It's gonna be my first loss in the pick'em.
I had Tampa in 7, so I mean, I say that as somebody who wants to see the Leafs succeed, but I mean, I'm not picking it against Tampa until they prove me wrong. Sorry.
I'm going to tell you why this has went to 7 games. The Leafs have a lot of talent, but it's individual talent. And to me, you watch these guys, like I watch Marner in the first 2 periods and a half, just skate around with the puck, and guys were open, and he keeps skating around. And they're individual players that in the regular season, they have great success. But in the playoffs, you need a team chemistry type of a team to win in the playoffs. You can't just have 3 guys, Tavares, Marner, Nylander, and Matthews are 4 guys who make up 40, 50 million of your salary cap. You can't have that and expect to have success. I'd like to see them have success, but I can't handle the BS that we'll get from the Leafs fan base every year. I don't care what the Leafs did before. They could not make the playoffs, and every year they're going to win the cup, and they're the best team in the land. And it just gets old.
There's a lot of teams that are that.
Yeah,
right now it's 33 seconds with the goalie pulled and an icing.
So Lance, I see exactly what you're saying, and with the salary thing, I have a couple things afterwards that I'd like, if that's okay, if I could talk.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So that's exactly your point. I love that, Lance. I mean, you look at a team like the Blues, okay? Look at their contracts, how they're built. They don't have anybody. Do they have anybody over $10 million?
No, 7.5 is the highest.
And
7.5. 2 guys.
Even with the Wild, our best player is making $9 million, and that's it. And Kaprizov, I mean, I know Matthews might get the heart, but I mean, I think you can make an argument that Kaprizov was better player than Matthews this season. I mean,
you've got to also look at what Kaprizov had to play with. His line mates. Look at what Matthews had to play with. And, I love Austin Matthews. I really do. But, people have got to realize he's limited to what he can do.
Yeah.
And it's the other guys around him. They help him out and he helps them out. But he's got Marner, Tavares, Nylander sometimes. They switch those lines around. He's an awesome player. But like you said, I mean, Fiala, I think, is their next highest or their second or third next highest at $5 million a year.
Let me check here. I have actually cap friendly.
Yeah. He makes $5 million a year is what he's making. Fiala is.
Yeah. No. So Zuccarello is making 6, so he'd be the second. And
so he's third.
is making 5.25.
So third or fourth.
And
it's over. Toronto is eliminated yet again in the first round in a 7-game series.
Steve Dangle is going to be upset.
That's what I picked. I picked the Lightning in 7, I think, is what I picked.
Yeah, no, I had Toronto in 7. I thought that they were gonna. I thought this was the year. Well, they're gonna have. They need to do some more tweaking.
Yeah.
I mean, a good game, 2-1.
Yeah,
2-1, and they had it tied 1-1 for a bit, and then this was a classic Game 7. It was a very well played Game 7. I'm very happy with that. Apparently, Kaprizov won me money on a series.
Yeah, well, he had a great series. 8, 7? I think it was 7 goals. I don't think it was 8.
7 goals. Yeah, 7 goals, I think.
Yeah, well, he had a great series. You can't ask much more from a star player than that.
Yeah, and I think Kaprizov's one of those players like Tarasenko, and I'm not just saying that because he's Russian. He's one of those players that line mates help him out, but he can create so much stuff on his own, and he's got a great wrist shot, a very quick, one-timer. He's going to be a guy that's going to score 40, 50 goals every year unless he gets hurt. You know what? He's so young now, Ian. I think his best years are going to be 26 to 29, and that's scary.
Yeah, well, as well. I mean, he's one of those guys that he gets when people, how there's those players. I mean, I know you guys Blues. I come to Ryan O'Reilly, who when they come to adversity, they elevate their game and they get better. You think of like a Crosby. You think of like players like Ryan O'Reilly. I think of players like Jonathan Taves in their prime, Patrick Kane. When they're up against adversity, their game elevates and they're able to take things over. That's Kaprizov, and it's just a real shame that there was nobody else on the Wild that really decided they were like, oh, okay, like maybe we should try a little bit. I know everybody says that they weren't trying. I'm not trying to say that they weren't trying because obviously they were going to try. They're a professional sports team, but it's a bummer because I mean you hate to see it. You hate to see your team get eliminated, but how much do you guys want to put this on Evason? I mean, he did not. Berube, you could tell that Berube is a good coach because he made his adjustments, and then they won. Okay, Evason did not change. I don't think he changed a single line.
He didn't change a single line until the 6th game, and he only brought in the defenseman.
5th game. I think he made a line change.
Well, if he did, and then bring in Talbot for the change, he was so set on his lines. And if I'm him, when it's 2-2, you're still in it at 2-2. I try to see what's going to work, and you move him around. And, Guy and I have talked about it for a couple of years now since Berube's been here. Berube didn't do that for his first couple of years. He was pretty much set on his lines, but I think he learned, and I think Armstrong told him, you've got to make changes in your system. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. And he's like, well, I'll go ahead and do it. But Guy and I had that same complaint about Berube that you're having about Evason right now.
No, actually, I'd say 80% of the blame of this loss is on Evason.
Well, and this is another thing. I mean, special teams is a coach's scheme, okay? You can only put so much on the coach, right? But I think the majority you can put on the coach because since Evason's arrived in Minnesota, our special teams have been mediocre to terrible, and they haven't even been average. You know what I mean? And
what is the grief line?
Joel Eriksson, Jordan Greenway, and Marcus Foligno. That's our kind of our grind forecheck shutdown line, and I think it's mostly due to Eriksson because of how good of a player Eriksson is. I can't get enough of him. That $5 million contract is a great contract for us to lock him up for that long.
Yeah, no, I looked at that series and I got to tell you, first of all, if you were going to, and if Talbot was going to play in that series at all, he should have started game 1. Once you started Fleury, it should have stayed with Fleury, right? Because, like you said, we went from a guy with no experience. We went from a guy with no experience to a guy that's been there, done that. You went from a guy that's been there, done that, to a guy that has no success.
And you could tell it was a desperation move. That's what the problem is. It's like Berube. You just seemed like he was more calculated in his decision making, where Evason was more. When he reacted, it was already too late. It was just. And I hate to say that no, it
was too late.
And it was just like, man, and I was kind of, I know on games like 5 and 6, I was kind of with Evason, but looking back, maybe hindsight's 20/20, but at the end of the day, I don't think those were the right moves.
Game five was the telling game. That was the game when Bennington comes in game 4 and basically shuts you down, right? Shuts everyone down. He just plays that type of game. Gives up the 2 goals, but it's still Blues come out and win that game and win it pretty well handedly in my eyes, if I remember correctly. Game 5 was it.
Yeah.
Game 5 was the game that you guys had to win, and you made very little moves in that. You changed lines up during the game, but by then it was too late. And then you get up 2-1. And you guys went into a prevent in the second period.
Yeah.
Up 2-1. Up 2-1 in the second. In game 5 of the playoffs, you went into a prevent. And you didn't do anything to get out of that.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything to get out of that.
And I'm curious to what you guys think. I want to know, as a Wild fan, I wish I could be in Guerin's head right now because I know Wild fans are all I've seen some ones that are just absolutely livid, pissed off. They don't even want to watch the team anymore because this is and that's obviously because I think everybody does that after their team loses in the playoffs and everybody cools off. But I mean, this was the best Wild team that we've ever had, I think, and it was a shame that we lost, but I mean, I think we lost to the better team. But I don't know what moves is going to happen in this offseason. I'm really curious to see what you guys think will happen.
Hold up. I got to do some quick. I may have put the wrong time. I thought I put 3 o'clock. I may have put 4 o'clock. And again, remember, it's my time, not yours. I could have screwed that up. Maybe I did. I'm not sure. But it's normally 8 o'clock on off nights. I don't always do a show on off nights. Like I didn't do one yesterday. I had said I was going to, but I couldn't get a guest, and I didn't have it in me to do one yesterday. If I was getting paid, yeah, I'd have been up and doing this. But yesterday, I just needed a mental cool down, and there were some good games on yesterday. So I apologize if I did that, but to check me out 8 p.m. and things like that. It wasn't on you. I checked all day and checked late. Well, a couple people thought it might have been. So that's what. And then Tammy asked, and we'll get to your question in a second. I want to get to this. The guys on NHL Network said Benner looked like Benner in 2019. What do you guys think? I'll start with Ian.
All right. So I'm going to go back to the 2017 series where, everybody said that Allen stole that series, where he did make good saves, but the problem was that the Wild weren't getting to the net, right? I think it was apparent in the shot charts and what was happening, where there was the shot. I think I saw a graph. The shot map, there was like 2 dots in the circles, and then everything else was outside, right? And I think we just got outplayed fully by the team, because Benner looked like he made the saves he needed to make, and the team wasn't giving up crazy good chances. So we'll never know how good he could have been, because the Wild were just shut down. They weren't getting any good chances on Binnington. You know what I mean? I think game 5, it was a little bit different. I think game 5, we had some good chances in the first, second period. But after that third period, that was pretty much nothing for the entire Wild team that was really threatening Binnington all too much.
No, Binnington, where it came into, and we've talked about this on the show ad nauseum, the COVID. He was in a COVID fog, and at the end of the season, it felt like he came out of it, right? When the Blues went on that 8-game win streak, 12, 13-game point streak, whatever it was, it felt like Binnington came out of it. Now, the knock was, he played inferior teams. I don't care who he would have played. I think he would have played because he was playing that well, and the offense was scoring goals.
And you're playing NHL teams, even if they're bad. Right? You're playing an NHL team. I see what you mean.
Yeah. The other thing in football, there's a great saying, and I love it. The best offense, the great defense. That in football, right? Mm-hmm. And that works. That is, if your defense keeps the other team off the scoreboard, and doesn't let them move, you end up with better field position, right? Mm-hmm. It makes your job easier. Well, in hockey, the best defense is a great offense. Yeah. Because a great offense stays in their zone. Great offense put points on the board. It puts you on your heels. The Blues have a very, very good offense. Mm-hmm. In fact, they have the 3rd best offense in goals per game in the league.
Yeah, and I think for the thing is that you look at our team, we had the 5th. I believe we had the 5th best offense, right?
No, but let me double check. I don't think so.
6? It was 5th, or it was something like that for goals, at least for goals per game wise, I believe. But you look at that, and you think
you're 5th.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought we were 5th, but
the Avalanche are 4th. Now look at that. Here's 3rd, 4th, and 5th are the Central Division.
Yeah, exactly. That's another great point to make, is that our division is completely stacked. But
309 goals, 308 goals, 305 goals.
But I think another problem is that the Wild didn't have another star player besides Kaprizov in the series. There was nobody else. There was Eric Snack is a very good player. I don't think you can call him a star player, right? He's just a very good player. But there was nobody else to take that lead. Where you have in the Blues, you have O'Reilly. I mean, I think you can put Tarasenko in that mold. Thomas has come into his own this season. I think you can kind of put him around there. And I think another one that seems like he kind of came alive in the last couple of games in that series was Pavel Buchnevich. Love that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm back to my other question.
Buchnevich didn't score.
Yeah, but you could tell he was better those last couple of games, for whatever reason. I don't know. I noticed him more. I mean, I could be wrong.
Oh no, you're right. He for us, he did great, but he also can score. He was another 20. Yeah, I think he scored 30 this season.
He was a threat every time.
Or very close to it, right? He's one of those guys that can do that. Definitely can do that. So it doesn't surprise me. Bennington for me came out and just, Jason Nichols talks about him taking some time during the pregame warm-up and meditating a little bit or doing something like that. In 19, he did something. He got told to stop doing it, basically. But he did something every pregame, and it really, I think it was something that helped him get his mind into it. And maybe he did it this way. What he did pregame in 19, and he did this every game, and I caught it once, and I made a big deal out of it, and then, no one caught on to it. But he did that. Bennington did this, and I'm going to see, I don't know how well it's going to show up on here, but he looked left, or he looked right. He looked left. Then he took his glove, and he tapped his crotch. Right? Basically telling, the other team to suck it. Right? He was told that he was basically told to stop doing that. And now I think that he's doing this, a few minutes of meditating or whatever it is, but it's getting him to that point that he needs to be at. And I got to tell you, I was only nervous in game 4, right? Game 4 was the only game. If we would have lost game 4, it's over. We might have took it 6. I think we could win game 5, but I don't think we would win 6 or 7.
That's a good point. I think that's probably pretty accurate.
Once we won game 4, all my nervousness went away. Right? And not only that, the way Bennington played in game 4. Mm-hmm. Right?
That was a turning point of the series as well.
He outplayed Fleury. He outplayed Fleury in games 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
Absolutely outplayed a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and that's a great point as well. Goaltending, I mean, it would just – I don't want to be that guy, but it just wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? I know everybody's like, well, I know some Wild fans have been saying, well, you can't ask too much more from Fleury. Let's like – but they just weren't good enough. You know what I mean? They were beaten out by Jordan Binnington and then the Blues goaltending. Their goaltending was better, and that's at the end of the day. Now, I want to know what you guys think. If you're Bill Guerin, what are you guys doing in the offseason with the Minnesota Wild? What are you guys thinking? Having the buyouts or situation, Fiala needs to be re-signed. When we only have about, I think, 9 or 10 or even less than that $1 million and to create our overall roster next year. What do you guys think the moves should be? What do you think they should add?
I'll let you go with that first, Lance.
Well, I would probably it's going to depend on a couple different things, but I agree with you, Ian. They need to move on from a couple guys such as Dumba. I like him, but I think they just need to move on. He didn't play very well in the series, I thought. He chirped his mouth more than he showed up on the ice for. I mean, he sat there and told Braden Shin that he plays on the bench and that's where he belongs, when Braden Shin was getting 2.5 times more minutes than him.
Yeah.
I definitely think I like Talbot as a backup. If you could either find a young up-and-coming goalie, maybe keep him around for that extra year. If you can get something for him, a second-round pick or better, by all means, get rid of him. But I think you've got a lot of decisions to make. I don't fire Evison because, I think he's a good coach. I just don't think – and I love Billy Guerin, former Blue, former Bruin. I love the way he played and the way he's putting the team together. But I think there's some holes that this team definitely has. He needs to look to build to get him a second-line one second line winger and needs to get some of those guys that are muckers that may only play 5-6 minutes in the regular season, but can really get you a goal when you need it. Them dirty goals that you need in the playoffs. I think he needs to look in that aspect of it. So I expect I won't be shocked if there's a lot of turnover with the Wild. I mean, I think with the roster they have now, there could be 4 or 5, even 6 guys that aren't here next year.
And I think that, to me, that's a mistake. First of all, the biggest mistake happened last season.
I still don't think it's a mistake.
1, not 2. Okay?
Yeah, I could see that.
1, not 2. If the 2 guys together were the locker room problem that you talked about before, you get rid of one, and the other one realizes real fast that he doesn't have any control of anything.
And now, I think if anybody, dude, funny you should say that. Now, I think if they were going to do that, they should have gotten rid of Suter and kept Parise. Now I know you're like.
Actually, I would have gone the other way. I think Suter's defense, right?
Yeah. Now I know what you're thinking. What are you talking about, Ian? He was the better defenseman. He's the better player, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that what it sounds like is that Suter was kind of more of the guy that was like, let me run the team kind of thing, where they're like, at least that's what the vibe I was getting out of.
Okay, but he gets the message. No, I don't mean to walk over you, but he gets the message if you send the other guy away.
No, I don't think Suter does. I think a young kid does. Somebody Suter's age who's played a long time doesn't care. He's just like, oh, he's gone now. Now it's really my team.
Okay, possible, right?
Yeah,
possible. I'm not going there.
Too. I just think Suter, if they were going to keep one of the two, I definitely would have kept Suter over Parise. I think Parise's best years are long behind him. I thought the Islanders were idiots for getting him. I told Islanders fans that, just like the Chara move. I think Parise I don't know if he wants to play anymore because I've watched him in Islanders games. And it's like sometimes he cares and other times he just doesn't care.
It's just such a bummer for Parise because he was one of my favorite players. But the problem is that the back is the way that Parise plays. Used to play plays is a very like in front of the net grindy kind of play, but he was good along the boards as well, and he was able to score. He has had like a good shot, so he could score some goals. But when he started injuring his back. When his back injury started piling up, I know he missed a lot of time. I don't remember. I think it was it the 18-19 or the 17-18. One of those. He was missing a lot of time. Those injuries, I think you could really start to see that they were catching up with him because he could not play the style of game that gave him success, and it hurt his career. And I think I wonder if he could still be playing competently if he wasn't as injured. That it makes you wonder, Yeah.
Tank has an AAV of 7.5. He could be making 9 this year, but I don't think so. I think it was a 7.5 average all the way through it.
No, it's 9 total, and his cap hit is 7.5.
Okay, so he is pulling in 9 this season.
Yeah, the cap hit,
but his cap hit 7.5. So that to me, that's what he's making is 7.5, right? Because that's what's important. That's the important number.
But right? My final thoughts on like the Wild before because this is a Blue show. I don't want to just kid here.
What it is, he's making 9.5 his base salary. His cap hit is 7.5, and the next year it's a really team friendly deal at 5.5 million.
Yeah, with a cap hit of 7.5.
Cap hit of 7.5. Yep.
But my last like Wild thoughts before, because I don't want to. It's the Blue show. I'm not trying to like.
No, I want to hear this because this is important. I want to hear this. I like what you've got to say, and also you're coming here with some humility, saying, "Look, I understand. I had my fanhood, but Guy, you were right. You said you were the better team, and you were right all along. So I appreciate it."
But yeah, I think I don't want to sound like because Jared Spurgeon right now is still playing great. I think you could still put him on the very good to elite level player where he's very, very good defensively. He's still pretty good offensively as well. But I think he's signed through 2028, 29, I believe. I think we have him for 6 more seasons. He's 32 right now. I feel like that contract could become a problem in about 4 or 5 years down the line. I think our defense is making too much money to to put up a performance that they did like that against the Blues. I think everybody focuses on Dumba. I focus on Dumba as well. But Dmitry Kulikov really did not have a good series as well. And John Merrill was all right. He's making only 1.2 or something along that lines. But the Wild are going to have to like play Moneyball, and they're going to have to be like the Moneyball franchise for the next 3 years. That's just so weird.
But that's on them. That's self-inflicted wound.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you were been able to get out of those Suter contracts anyway. I mean, they still technically they're like saving money even next year.
Trade them.
I don't know if you could have. Could you have traded those $7 million contracts? I mean,
you could have ate some of it.
Yeah, I know.
I've always been the type of person, and I always agree with Doug Armstrong when he will not trade a player if he's got to eat a bunch of salary. He doesn't even like to eat a little bit of salary. I think when you start doing that, you're going to end up where 2-3 years down the road, you're going to be paying 5-6 guys $1 million to $2-3 million a year that aren't even on your roster. I just always hate that. But some teams do it and it works for them. I just always hate it.
Oh, I hate it too. And I think that to me, you do one, not two. You can get away with one. Here's the thing. Here's what I would have done. If I'm going to drop one, let's say I want to get rid of them both, right? The better of the two was Suter. Suter had trade value. Even at his contract, he had trade value.
And I don't know if he goes to a team like Dallas, but if we trade him, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think I
could. Well, what happens when you do this? You set up another team. This guy's getting paid what he's getting paid from you for the buyout, right? He doesn't need that extra money. He will take a lower pay somewhere else.
But I know.
No, I don't think Suter will. I don't think he'll.
He did.
Minnesota went to him and asked him if he would take less on the contract that they wanted to keep him around, if he would take much less, and he said no. He said,
what I'm getting at, you're missing what I'm saying, Lance. Because of the buyout, he's already making that money. When he signed with Dallas, he signed with less for Dallas because he was already making the money from Minnesota. Right? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He went because he was getting paid by Minnesota. I don't need to make $7 million because I'm already getting $7 million. I'll take 3. Now I'm making 10.
And I could be wrong with this math a little. I don't quite remember exactly because this was before the trade when these numbers were coming out. But I believe part of the reason why Guerin decided just to buy them outright as well is because he wanted the guarantee. Because if Suter or Parise were to retire to injury, those cap hits would have been extended to 6 years or something like that at $7 million. So it would have been even worse than it is right now. So I think that's part of the reason why he wanted to buy them out as well. But my final thoughts on the Wild, I think what the Wild are going to do is they're going to probably sign a veteran goaltender. I think they're probably going to bring Jesper Wallstedt in and have him play in the AHL next year or maybe get a couple starts in the NHL. I think we move on from Dumba. And I think we'll see some more defensive prospects coming on, maybe a Kalen Addison. Simon Johansen came over to SHL. He's been very, very good. He's a right shot guy. He seems like he might be a pretty good player. I had my eye on him for a while, and I think there's a lot of people that kind of agree me in the prospect area. And then forward-wise, I really think that we need to try to add some sort of center, especially with the cap that's going to be created with Dumba. I think we should try to add a center, and I think we should try to keep Fiala. That's my final thoughts in the Wild there. I think we do end up keeping him. I'd be surprised if we trade him.
Guerin, here's the thing. Guerin made some huge mistakes, okay? If you have a locker room issue with Suter and Parise, and the only way to solve it is to buy them out and handcuff your franchise for 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is, I stop right there. There's another move to make. There's 2 moves to make. First of all, you bring in, if Everson can't stop the locker room crap, then he doesn't need to be the coach of that team.
I think I see what I see what you're coming from.
Okay,
I've got a question. Did Berube stop the locker room crap after they won the cup in the 2 years they didn't go to the play or they lost in first round of playoffs? No, he didn't.
Well, he did. I don't know. Let's don't get me off my sidetrack.
Oh, I'm going to get you sidetracked. I'm going to get you working.
Yeah, we're going to make you work for it. Come on.
I see your point. However, I don't think that the locker room issues that Berube has are anything what Minnesota had.
They're not. No, they're not.
Okay, so it's in my eyes, it's apples and oranges, right? If you're Guerin, oh, I haven't seen this one before. Actually, maybe I have. I think I know who this is. Question: how about Adam Beckman, Mason Shaw, Conador, and?
Well, I think this comment said it exactly. There's going to be a youth movement in Minnesota. There's no way with these buyouts coming out that we need to have 2 or 3 young players come in and be able to contribute. And that's weird to say because it's like you don't want to count on prospects, but with the way it is, that's kind of what the Wild have to do, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like they have to. I think they need at least one defensive prospect to hit, and I think Rossi and Beckman next year need to be able to contribute to a somewhat of a okay degree. You know, like I don't want to expect like Boldy numbers, but they need to be better than like an average.
Okay. Let me answer this. I can actually get 10 people in the room internet wise. It shouldn't be a problem. However, it takes too much. It takes away from people. Not everybody gets to talk. If we have a long show, like a 4-hour show or a 2-hour show, something longer, then maybe we can bring people in shifts. But right now, 3 to 4 is the max, I think. And we don't want to lose Ashley as a co-host. We want to make sure that she's got time there. Distract the shit out of them. I'm not sure what. Oh yeah, when I was saying I was being distracted. Yeah. No, but back to what I was trying to get at there was Guerin made the mistake was I'm sorry. I would have gone to Everson and say, okay, if you can't control those 2 guys, then I guess I need a new coach. Right. Yeah. And there's coaches out there, right? There are coaches out there.
Yeah.
That can come in and destroy that can rule a locker room. Right. That were available. You could have gotten Bruce Boudreau. Boudreau would have come in there and owned that locker room.
I know. We had him. We just was, I think, I don't know. That would have been weird though. Don't you think? Because we just had him in 7. I think that was 17-18 is when we fired, or we fired him in 18-19. I think we fired him in 18-19. I think that's when.
No, I thought that was. Well, I don't know.
Or was it 19-20?
It might have been. I don't know. Well, he's one of them.
Yeah.
There's other guys. There's other guys out there. Wilson, or not Wilson.
Is it Doug Wilson?
No, Sutter. Oh. Ron Sutter, Calgary's coach.
Yeah, Daryl Sutter. There we go.
Daryl Sutter, right? Daryl Sutter was available. Daryl Sutter comes in and changes this.
I think right? I can agree with you there. Well, right? Our scheming is weird. Like I want to have confidence in Dean Evison, and I don't think he gets fired this offseason. But I think going into next year, if we have a bad year next year, I could see him getting fired next year.
But the bad year is going to be on Guerin, not him. That's my issue. Guerin has handcuffed this team,
but
right off the bat. And now here's the other thing: you've got all these people saying, "Oh, we took a swing at the Blues in this, so we've got to make all these big piece changes."
No,
and that's the thing. You don't need to make these big swing changes. You need to make tweaks.
Yeah, and I
they
think
did not play a bad series.
Yeah, and and I see what you mean, but isn't it always the coach's fault first, though, isn't it? I mean, unless it's like 4 coaches in a row, then probably the GM gets fired with them. But it's always the coach is the first to go no matter what. So
I know, I get that, but I'm telling you, in this case, I think Guerin should be on a very short leash and on a hot seat.
Yeah.
Right? Because he has handcuffed this team when there were other moves he could have made. And I'll tell you what. Tell me that a team would not have taken Suter if you ate a quarter of his salary.
Yeah, but
a quarter of his salary.
I'm going to tell you something about Suter. He's still okay, but he's not the defenseman he was before. He's good, but he's not great. And I don't blame Billy Guerin for this. I blame Mike Yeo, because it was Mike Yeo who pushed for those contracts with Parise and with Suter. He pushed for those $10 million, whatever they were, contracts. So Mike Yeo just keeps giving and giving and giving to the Minnesota Wild, but not in a good way.
But if you buy out, here's the thing: if you buy him out, you end up like what is it, $14 million this year and $13 million next year or something like that. If you trade them and eat half the salary, you save yourself $3 million.
Yeah, well, but then that comes back to the thing where if they retire, then you're screwed. So that's
No, you're not. Not on a trade. Not on a trade. Not on a trade.
I believe it's still, even if they're retired. I think we went. I went over this extensively.
When a guy retires, do you know what they do with his salary when he retires? I think everybody misses this because we did it with Steen. When Steen retired, do you know what happens to that guy when they retire? They go on LTIR.
Yeah, and we were paying Steen for 2 or 3 years while he was
on 1 year. He had 1 year left on his contract.
But 1 year, but they spread that over several years. He wasn't just paid 1 year.
And I'm going to die on this hill. I'm almost positive.
I think Ian's right.
But the way these contracts were structured, because there were those like massive 13-year deals that were before, like that the CBA like decided to crack down on, right? That if we trade Suter or we trade Parisi, but they like retire early, then those contracts get like they get dragged out for like 8 or something or 6 or something years. So something
okay.
It's a bad.
Well, I don't know. Maybe that's something that was written into those contracts. However, that money you can put it on LTIR.
And I could be wrong. I want to say I could be wrong.
As far as I know, when a guy retires, until he puts in his retirement papers and he comes off the books completely, you put him on LTIR. He goes on LTIR.
And back last summer, a lot of the Wild fans were just like, "Well, just put him on LTIR." But it's like people understand that you can't put him on LTIR unless they have like injury. Unless they're injured, I think maybe you can make a case for Parisi because of his back problems, but I don't know. And I think this next coming season is going to be telling, because I think Guerin and Evison they need to make some moves, maybe change some schemes, different player personnel, because they need to improve our special teams. Our special teams needs to improve. That was a huge part of why we lost this series was our special teams, and I think that's partially down to coaching and steaming. It's also down to the players you have in the ice. But I think this next coming season for Everson's huge, and it's going to be telling. If we have like a mediocre start to the season or a bad season and all around, maybe if we miss the playoffs, I would not be surprised if Everson's fired. Even though he just got.
But you know what? Here's the problem now. If I'm a coach, available coach, right? Like one of the big names, I don't go to that mess. Right? I don't go to that mess. You want me to go coach a team that I'm handcuffed right off the get-go? I have $15 million that I can't even touch.
Come on, guy. Come over. Come coach us.
But that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is now you can't get a big guy because he's not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
You can get a big guy that has a huge ego because then he's going to want to prove everybody wrong. That's the only type of coach you would get is a guy with a huge ego that thinks he's right all the time, that says, I can take this.
And that might not be what Minnesota needs. And that might be the exact opposite of what Minnesota needs.
We do not need a John Tortorella over here. And then because he's a coach that he always has an expiration rate, right? Where like he'll coach good for like 3 years and then off the rails bad for this guy. For that
well, I tell you what, I thought Berube had a 3-year expiration date. And he would have had one had he not done what he did this year. And whether he was forced to do it or whether he did it on his own, however it was, he figured it out. Oh, my goodness. Ryan Green, you can kiss my ass. You can kiss my ass, bud.
Yeah. Well,
and that's Navy talk, so don't get upset at me. I'm joking with you.
I could be wrong. Maybe this is a Berube. Maybe this is like a Berube thing where, because I mean, Everson's only been coaching in the NHL for 3 years now. He's been coaching, but like it's getting to the point where like if you're not going to figure it out, you may never figure it out. So I think I'll leave it at that. I think this next year is going to be big for both Everson and the Wild, and we'll see.
No, I agree. I really do. We're going to see where they're at. Okay. Ryan Green's just teasing me. Okay. Thanks, Ryan. And I'm joking back, bud. So let's not get, let's get into the Blues right now a little bit. Ian, I want to know from your perspective, going into this series, because I know you won't be on our unfortunately, I can't have you on my preview show. What do you think? What do you see with this Blues Avalanche matchup?
Man, it's so tough. I mean, because you're looking at two of some of the best teams in the league. That's so tough because you guys are both very, very deep teams. It's like I can't pick between the two teams. It's so weird because I mean, maybe I'm a little bit Blues biased now because I've been on your guys' show for so long. But it's like I see how good of the team the Avalanche are, and I look at the Blues. I'm like, well, I think their forward lines can probably match up pretty good with them. I look at defense and I'm like, well, I guess Avalanche probably have an edge defensively, and I mean,
they have an edge offensive defensively.
I think that's a good point, but I really do think that they do have the edge defensively. I don't want to be. I could be. We'll see. I could be completely proven wrong. Blues sweep Avs in second round. That'd be hilarious to watch. But I mean, I think defensive goaltending. I mean, it's pretty close because a playoff Bennington, the way he played the last couple of games, I think can be on par with how Kemper's played. Because Kemper, I know that they just swept the Predators, but that's a Saros-less Predators, and I really think that if the Predators had Saros, that probably goes to maybe 6 or possibly even 7 games, just because the Nashville was able to hang around in so many of those games that Colorado let the Nashville hang around. But playoff Bennington versus a Darcy Kemper that has a tendency to choke in big games, I think that's pretty much. I think it's a pretty even goaltending wise. So this is going to be a really cool series. I'm excited to watch this one, and I'm also excited. This is just an off sidebar question. Are the Penguins and the Rangers tonight? Is that tonight or is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow. That's tomorrow. Right?
Well,
that's tomorrow.
I picked the Penguins in that series. I'm really interesting to see who wins.
I think the Rangers are going to pull that out. I really do.
Well,
I think the Rangers are going to pull that out because even a 70% Crosby, I mean, he's one hit away from another concussion. And I watched the play. I got to be honest. I don't think it was I know you're responsible for your body. I know you are, okay? Yeah. But when you look at it and the way he hit the elbow, it's almost the Bortuzzo incident of last season. Or I think it was Bozak. Oh, Bozak's nose shouldn't have been there, right? When he got elbowed in the face, I think it was one of those where it's like, you really shouldn't have been there when he was doing what he did because his elbow just came up. It wasn't. No, I mean, that's what they said.
It's funny because it's like, why did you hit? I'm just thinking, like, why did you hit my elbow with your face, dude? Come on.
Well, that's exactly what the NHL said.
You know
I know, they did. Well,
yeah,
I remember this. I laughed so hard when everyone thought that there should have been I think it was in game 1, right? Because the ball kit was game 2, I thought. I might have that wrong.
You could.
Right?
Could be. I think it was game 1 though.
Right, but in game 1, or earlier in the game, Bozak gets it was either Bozak or Bortuzzo, an elbow right to the face. I mean, the guy did this, right? And the NHL didn't punish it and came back and it said Bozak or Bortuzzo, who the Blues player, should not have been in that position. Basically, blaming them for getting hit for the guy pounded him with the elbow.
Weird.
Right? So I look at that one with the hit, who was it, Trouba that hit Crosby or whoever it was. I look at that one and I go, same thing. That's what, it's the same thing. Crosby shouldn't have had a space where the elbow was.
Yeah, and I think another good point is that, like, I know a lot of fans that just are so, because I know the refs control the game, okay? Refs discussion is a big discussion. It's a big hot topic. Oh, refs this, refs that. But it's like, at the end of the day, you have to, if you think that you had a bad call, you still need to fight through that adversity because if the other team has those same calls, it mostly goes both ways,
Yeah.
So that's why so many Wild fans were just complaining about refs and stuff. But I know.
No, we're not. No, we're not going there. Okay, we're not going there.
That's the problem. It's like, guys, you cannot complain about the refs when it's like, even if whether you think that they did or not, it doesn't matter. You're the team.
You had Spurgeon. You had Spurgeon almost break a guy's leg. Got a 2-minute penalty,
like,
a $5,000 fine.
Like what, 160? I don't know. I'm just kidding. I think it's more than that, but it's like he's not going to break Buchnevich.
You had Letty. Cross-checked into the glass. Not called. Letty missed 2 games.
Now, was that I don't know. Was that a bad play? I didn't see that play. I think it was it Boldy? I think it was Boldy. But I don't know.
Boldy. It was Boldy.
I didn't see that.
It was Boldy.
That one.
And it was a bad one. I mean, he basically cross-checked him right in the back. Like here. Hitting here, lower back, right into the boards.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sorry. The refs in that series called that series evenly. In my eyes,
I think
for all the calls that Minnesota wants to complain that they didn't get against the Blues, right? The Blues didn't get them against Minnesota either.
Yeah, and that's my exact point. And I unless you can point at something and be like, unless everybody points at something, unless both fan bases can step back and go, that was a missed call, then I don't think you can talk about it. You know what I mean?
Right? No.
That is a thing that if you're an NHL player, you just battle through it. That's not even a thought. And
you want to know why Minnesota lost? You want to know? There's one reason and one reason only why Minnesota lost that series.
I'm ready for it.
You got outplayed.
Yeah.
You got outplayed. You absolutely straight up were outplayed in 4 out of the 6 games.
It's the end of the day. That's exactly what it comes out. I mean, I don't know. There's no other better way to put it. They got out. I mean, they got outworked. That apparently the game 6 was just a complete. I know you say that we didn't get blown out, we just got worked, but like if you're showing up to a game 6, you can't play because I saw the goal. I heard the goals go off on my watch. You can't have that bad of a second period in game 6 on an elimination game. It's just you just can't. You know.
I get that. I get that.
Well,
but it comes down. It comes down to this. You knew you're not a good special teams team. You knew you were not good on the power play. You were not good on the penalty kill. You knew that. Yet you went in and you played you played the Blues game in game 1, and it bit you in the ass.
And I want to preface. I think the Blues playing from behind and the Blues playing from a lead is a really different. I mean, and it's different for all teams as well. But what I've noticed is that when the Blues have a lead, they are all the pressure goes away. You know what I mean? They just don't even care. And it's like they just shut down everything. I don't know if it's Berube's system or what, but the Wild, they haven't really been able to. They don't do that too much. The Wild have a lot of like come from behind victories in the regular season kind of thing, 1-goal game, where they never really they haven't like they don't have those like 4-0 games. They have those like 5-4 games or those 6-5 games. And it's just, I come back to that as well. And I think that's part of the reason why I think there was a little bit of pretending going on and not a lot of like, really, you're a contender. I think it was more towards the pretender side. And I think they kind of got showed during this series. But yeah, that's my thought on that one.
No, it comes down, and I had a thought and it just disappeared on me. But what was it now? Give me a second. The teams, the come from behinds, right?
Yeah.
Both these teams were good at coming from behind.
But you guys
they each did it once.
Mm-hmm.
They each did it once. They each came from behind once. Problem was they did it in the same game.
Mm-hmm. And then one of them didn't win it. So it's like, you know.
Yeah. So when it all comes down to it, this was a series where the team that scored first won
every single time.
Right? And it's also a series where your identity played out. Who you are played out. The Blues in games 2 and games 3 tried to go after Minnesota, tried to hit them, and they didn't. And it cost them. And that's why Minnesota won games 2 and 3. In game 4, they stopped that. And they even said it themselves after game 3. We got to stop hitting. We got to stop hitting the hit.
And I'm going to pound this point home. Binnington coming in was just such a difference maker because he plays the puck. And it's like, Huso wasn't doing that, and that really, really affected our game because we are a forechecking team, and you could tell. I mean, when Huso there's just no momentum. We couldn't build any momentum in that because it was just in and out, right back out, and that's how it played out for that third period in Game 5 and that Game 6. I think
it wasn't just him playing the puck; it was how he played the puck.
Yeah, and it was
right. There's one thing when you go back there and you just stop it and you wait for your defender to come around. He doesn't do that. He's looking left and right and he's finding that outlet to get the puck up. He didn't do a lot of that in the regular season when he wasn't feeling right.
And I think
once he started feeling right, say again.
I think Ruby knew exactly what he was doing when he put Binnington in because I think he knew. I really do think that he did. He knew that Binnington coming in was going to have a major effect on how the Wild play their game, and if when Everson doesn't adjust to that, that lost us the series.
Instead, they still kept dumping it in instead of trying to bring it in.
You have to be able to adjust, and Everson did not, and that's why we lost those 2 games. And that's when it comes down to, and that's the end of the.
Well, it's because and here he asked why did Minnie keep dumping it to Minnie because that was their identity. And they were not a bring it in team. They were a rush team, but not a bring it in team. When the Blues took the rush away, they had nothing else to do but dump it in. And once the Blues stopped trying to hit and focused on the rush, end of story. Here's the other thing. The big difference between Binnington and Huso. I remember on the goals that Huso gave up in games 2 and 3, I kept hearing, oh, it was a breakaway. Oh, it was an odd man rush. Oh, the defense screwed up and he never would have gotten that one. Well, you know what? When you come down to it, Binnington gave up how many odd man rush or breakaway goals? How many?
It was almost every single time, wasn't it? Every single time.
He gave up 0. Binnington gave up 0.
We're saying Huso.
Huso gave up 4 or 5.
No, I was thinking Huso, but you said Binnington first. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. Binnington gave up 0 odd man rush or breakaway goals. He made the stops you're not supposed to make. Plain and simple. And end of story. End of story. That's what it was.
And it's like that comes down to you've been there before. You're more composed. Huso hadn't been there before. So guys, hindsight, do you think that Ruby should have just ran with Binnington since game 1?
No.
Yes.
I know Lance does, but I said this and look, originally I did believe that. Okay? But Binnington comes in for game 1 and all those nerves, all those things in his head, right? You wonder how he's going to perform in that game 1.
Yeah.
You wonder. It's just, hear me out, Lance.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I seen the look on your face. You seen?
He's ready. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's loading that. Hey. He's got that assault mag in with 250 rounds ready to go.
Hey, here's I see 20 insurgents and I want to take them out. That's the way I'm thinking right now.
Yeah. He came in I don't know. He came in game 4 and all the weight, all the pressure, all that weight of bad Binnington was gone. Because you know what? If he lost the game, he lost the game. That's what everybody expected anyways. He had, because we were down 2-1, all of that shit was gone. And he came in and made a big save right off the bat. Right off the bat, made a big save. It wasn't a odd man rush. It wasn't really a breakaway. It was a 1-on-1, right? 2-on-2, 1-on-1, something like that. But he made a couple of big saves early, and as soon as he did it, you could hear it in the arena. And that wasn't the arena. That was just Binnington.
Yeah,
I'm good to go.
You can point at so many points in these series. Even if it was just 6, even though it's just 6 games and Binnington played 3 of them, right? Yeah. Even though he only played 3 of those games, I point at it was that game 5. Okay, the Blues just took the lead and it's 3-2. Or no, it was game 5. or was it game 4? No, it was
No,
this
game
was
five.
Game 4.
Game 5, 3-2.
I think it was his game 4 though, because you guys scored 3 goals, and then Boldy had that one in the crease or whatever. But
yeah, but I think we were at. It was 4-1 at a point, and you guys got a late one to make it 4-2. If I remember
one
right.
that was, it was 3-2, where it was
3-2 was game 5,
and it was a 2-on. There was a 2-on-1 where it was where it was Hartman and somebody else, and Binnington made the save on that, and you could just tell. But like, if that's Huso, I think Hartman is kind of a goal scorer issues. He can score goals. I think he scores that goal. I know you can't 100% say, but the Wild were pushing. It could have been, and I think if Huso doesn't make that, or if Huso's in that, he doesn't make that save, that's a completely different game. But Binnington was in the net. He made the save, and it was just after that the Blues kind of started pushing back, and the game was over. I just can't say enough about. I think that was just such a great decision by Berube. I can't say enough about him.
It was the right. Actually, it was a little late to me, but in the overall scheme of things, it was the right decision at the right time.
Oh yeah,
I think it should have happened in game 3 after the second goal. 2 goals in 3 shots, 2 games in a row, and now you're back to this. And what I keep bringing up is the habit. This wasn't something new. This was history. There was a lot of history there. And as soon as he does it again, all that history to me came back. Right? Last season, he did it. I remember Ian being on with us. He would do it. He'd give up a goal in the first 3 or 4 shots, right?
Uh-huh.
He gave up a goal on the first shot 4 or 5 times. I mean, it was consistent. When he did it in game 3, to me, that was it. Yeah. I would have pulled him right then and there and changed the tone of the game. Now, I know Lance doesn't agree with that, but I absolutely would have done that.
Yeah, I want to hear Lance's opinion on this one.
I'm going to ask you just one question, okay? What do you do if you're the New Jersey Devils and you won the Cup the year before? Let's say that Brodeur wasn't playing great, but started bringing it on in the last 10, 15 games of the season. He was kind of splitting time with a rookie that had played pretty dang good, especially in the first part of the season. If you're the Devils coach, do you start Martin Brodeur in the 90s, let's say after the first Cup, or do you start the young kid that isn't proven in the playoffs? I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to start Martin Brodeur.
And I can see where that's coming from.
Coach. I want all the experience I can get, playoff experience, going into a playoffs. I understand why Berube did it. I do. But, every goalie is confident. If they're not confident, they're not in the league very long. Even Binnington losing those games. A goalie doesn't think, hell, I've lost 9 games in a row. If they put me in, what am I going to do? Because he wouldn't be in the league if he thought that. And if he thinks that, he shouldn't be in the league. Bennington, I know, told the team he was ready to start and felt a lot better. He was ready to start the playoffs. But, he understood, after they said Huso was playing, that if, something that came up, he would be ready to play if they needed him to back Huso up. He was being a team player. He didn't fight it. He knew that, hey, I might get my chance, but I'm hoping that Huso plays well. Every goaltender, it's competitive. Do they want the other guy to succeed? Yes, but they also want to be there in there too and have success. I'm always looking for guys that have playoff experience. Now, if I don't have a choice, let's say in the last 5 games, Binnington just stunk and he was giving up 4 or 5 goals a game. And the last 5 games, Huso was on the mark and had a 1.5 goals against game. I probably will start Huso, but I'm ready to yank him the moment something happens. And
again, that's why now Jason says the reason I don't agree with it being game 3 is because there's a lot more pressure than starting a fresh game. Negative. The pressure's gone. There's no pressure. You're down 2-0. You're already losing the game. You give up another goal. So what? You were already down. It's on your team to score. There's zero pressure.
There's no pressure on Binnington starting, and there's no pressure on bringing him up. Because
bringing him in game 3, there would have been no pressure on him whatsoever.
There wasn't any on him in game 4, as we saw. I don't think there would have been any on him in game 3 because he's going to look at it as, okay, we're behind. I need to come in, stop the bleeding. Let's see if we can get back in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, unless you're a goalie, I mean, I know players that played for a long time. I know minor league players and professional players that will never understand the mindset of a goaltender. Because I don't care if you've given 7 goals the game before, you're not thinking about it. You're thinking about not giving up any goals. And when a goal goes in, you don't even think about that previous goal. Because if you do, you're going to let another goal in. You think about, okay, it's 0-0, no matter what the score is. I've got to keep it 0-0. And I understand. I'm glad that he did bring Bennington in, because if he hadn't, I think this series goes 7 games and the Blues lose in 7.
I think it goes 5 and the Blues lose in 5. Right? I don't think Husso wins another game. He was no, I don't think he does. I didn't see. They had him figured out. They had him. They were coming after him. They were focusing on the neutral zone to get those odd man breaks. When Bennington came in, they tried that first odd man break. It wasn't even an odd man break. It was a 2-on-2, and Bennington stopped it right off the get go. Right? I think it was Krill. That came in, either Krill or Hartman. Came in, he puts his pads out, stops it completely. Big old sigh of relief, and that was it. It changed their pattern instantly.
And I want to tell you right now, I think, this is great, again, a great move for Berube. I think if Husso starts game 4, I think they go down 3-1 in the series. And I think,
oh no, I do too.
And I think Husso probably wins game 5, but I think then they lose game 6, and I think that's how the series would have played out. So I think could he have made it earlier? I think he probably could have. I think he probably could have switched him out probably after the first 2 goals of game 3. But I mean, at the end of the day, he made the switch at the right time, and then you guys were able to pull it out. And I'm not trying to great thoughts, guys. By the way, also love it, but I'm not trying to push past it too much, but
no, you're fine, bud.
I want to talk about you guys' next series, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Because I watch other like sports stuff, like, and so I follow a Colorado sports outlet, and they cover like Avs stuff and Bronco and all sorts of stuff like that. But I can tell you what the Avalanche's mindset is going to this series. Or in Avs fans anyway, their mindset is we need to win. I think they have the most pressure. I think they have way more pressure than the Blues right now to win this series, because Avs fans know that need to get it done, and there's nothing more that the Avs can do in the regular season. They have to prove it in the playoffs, and I think that's what all of everybody thinks. And so this is going to be really interesting to see, because I mean, this is a Avalanche team that they're probably going to be pretty desperate out there. And it's funny to say that because they're the Avalanche, but like they're going to be playing. This is going to be a really tough series for both teams. This is probably a better matchup than the Wild versus the Avs.
Well, I mean, we had Vince on here. You know the story so far, Vince, my Colorado troll. And the first we were talking about the Tampa Bay series, and the first thing he says is Toronto has more skill, but Tampa Bay has experience, and that means a lot. And I went, whoa, MFer. I think we can change some names here. The Avalanche might have better skill players. Blues have the experience.
And I think that too. It's like, and I can see you. I understand that 100%. But I also understand that like you don't have playoff experience, right? Until you have the playoff experience. Like until you actually go on a run. Nobody has that playoff experience until you actually do it. So it's like, is this going to be the year that the Avalanche do it? Who knows?
Well, you know what? I want to come back and say something here. That's not completely true.
I see what you mean, because other
in 19, right? Everyone sat there and said the Blues hadn't done it before. But what they all forgot was the Blues made it in 16. They were just at the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I remember that.
Just at the Western Conference Finals. Went to the second round the next year and then missed the playoffs, and now they're back. And they're back strong. They still scored 99 points that year.
And they barely missed the playoffs. I mean, that was a really close.
They missed it by 1 point. They missed it by a point. If they go into overtime, if they even get into overtime, Against the Avalanche, they're in the playoffs, and the Avalanche aren't in the last game of the season. So that's what it came down to. The Avalanche have some playoff experience, but what the Avalanche don't have, in my eyes, is there. And I'm sorry, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm a Blues fan too much. I don't see them as a cohesive unit, right?
You know, I think they are. I think they are, but I don't say that a team has playoff experience until they at least make it to the conference finals. Do you know? Does that?
Well, they were in the conference finals last season.
No, I'm talking for the.
Oh no, they weren't. They got knocked out in the second round. No, they haven't been to the conference finals. Yeah, that's right.
What I mean. They got bounced in the second round, I believe, by Vegas in 6. But until you make that run to the conference finals, I don't really think that you don't have that. Like, even if you win one round, it's like you just don't. You have experience, but you don't have that big run experience. You know, haven't done it before. And I know the Blues, and the thing that's X factor, the Blues have done it before. So like I said, this is gonna be a really good series. I'm pretty pumped to see this one. I'm also pumped to see
I'm waiting for Kadri to be Kadri again, right? I really am. I can't see him not doing something stupid, right? And I think if the Blues are smart, you put a body on him, but you don't put a body on him, right? You just shadow him a little bit. You get him to that point where he's going to do something stupid.
Well, and the Blues and the Avalanche are two very, very top to bottom are very, very complete teams. I thought what makes it so interesting to me is that really, like I said, hindsight's 2020, because I personally now I don't know if I can put Minnesota in that category for the Blues and the Avs, because I come back to, everybody comes back to it. I know Bill Guerin said we have good centers, blah blah. He went on because he defending his players like you should do, but we really we did not have the center depth that the Blues and the Avalanche did. That's like a big thing, and I know it gets pounded home, but I don't know if it gets pounded home enough about center depth, because you can get by with having mediocre centers in the regular season, as the Wired show, but those centers can't elevate their play in the playoffs. It makes a huge difference. That's why I'm so interested, because both the Blues and the Avalanche, they have that center depth. They have really good scoring lines. Their defenses are pretty good, and they both have solid goaltending. So this is really going to be.
Well, hey, Jason, when it comes to the playoffs, almost every single team sells out. So yeah. I don't know if that matters there, bud. Attendance matters because the teams sell out. I mean, it's SRO. The Stanley Cup Finals are SRO.
What if the Coyotes make the playoffs next year? They're playing playoff games in the $3,000 and 3,000 capacity stadium.
If the Coyotes made the playoffs, the NHL would have to find somewhere for them to play.
Yeah, and that's probably a good point. That would be kind of funny though. I really not I don't mean this in like a mean way. That'd just be really funny.
Let's put it this way: if they make the playoffs, the NHL goes to the arena, to Gila, and says, "Hey, you know what? We got to do something. We got to for the playoffs. We need a building."
I think you mean Gila.
Huh? Yeah, Gila, whatever it is. There's certain words I just can't pronounce.
Here's my thing about the Arizona Coyotes. And people don't say this. I know everybody in Arizona, we're definitely getting a new stadium. No, it's definitely not a done deal. It's close, but it's not a done deal. Also, what does it say about your ownership group and how they treat the arena owners if they've been in 2 arenas and neither owners of the arena want them in there still? You want to book as many people as you can into your arenas to make money. Why is it that the arena now, the Gila River River arena, doesn't want them? Why doesn't their previous
don't pay their bills?
Yeah, because it pays their bills. And so I think whoever's wanting to build them a stadium needs to really look at that, and
I know what, Lance, and I hate to be this guy, but because I know what I know some YouTubers that I follow an Arizona Coyotes fan, does covers Coyotes games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I feel like a jerk, but it's like I really think that the Coyotes would be better off even if they move to a place like to like another. Even if they had like another Texas team, I think that's a better market for the NHL. Don't you guys agree? Would you think that it'd be a better market?
No, I actually think they need to stay in Phoenix. I really do. I think that here's the thing. You have an issue in Phoenix and you've never been able to fix this, right? You've never won in Phoenix. I don't think they've ever been past the second round since they've been in Phoenix, right? Maybe the third round once. I know they've never been to the conference. They've been to the finals.
I think they went to the conference finals.
Chuck played for them.
Yeah, I think they went to the conference finals. I think
one time. And how long they've been out there, right?
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. I knew. I see your point. I understand.
Right. You. If you put out a product that is a good product and wins, people are gonna the traffic and all the other bullshit excuses go away, right? You have not in your time out there. You have not done the things that you need to do to put out a team that can win. That will build that fan base. You've never done it.
And you're in a part of the United States where like if you don't have a ginormous hockey culture there, I mean, it's not like a place like Minnesota where
they never tried to create one either. Even
if the Wild stink, their hockey in Minnesota is so much more than just our NHL team.
I know.
It's like you don't have or it's not like a Canada where like hockey is the thing in Canada. You don't have that like people that are going to sit there no matter what. You know what I mean? So it's like
I would say that the state of Minnesota is the closest thing to a Canadian province out of all the states when it comes to hockey.
I'd agree with that.
I got to tell you guys this real quick. You're going to bust up laughing. I had a guy on Facebook today tell me that Makar is better than any defenseman we've ever had. So I said, so you're telling me he's better than Al McInnes? Are you telling me he's better than Pronger? Are you telling me he's better than Pietrangelo? And I kept naming these defensemen. I said, please tell me which one he's better than.
Yeah.
I think he could be, but I mean, you can't say that right now yet, right?
I got no response.
Well, the thing is you can't say that yet. Like he's probably the best defenseman in the league this year, and he could be in the future. But I think if we look back at maybe 5 years later and he's still doing this every year, we could start to say that we might be able to have those conversations. But Al McInnes is a legend. Pronger is a legend.
I want to.
He's 35 and does this in and out each year. Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame player. But a young guy like that, I don't judge him until he's at least 30 and then look back on his career and look how he's got to be in the future. Guys can get injured. Guys can fall off the planet of the earth and not be the player they were when they were 22.
And I wait. Raymond Bourques and Al McInnes and Prongers are rare. They're rare, but I mean, we'll see if I think the Avalanche, they could have one in Makar. He's one of those game-breaking players, but we'll see what happens when he's like 32 and his skating starts to not be as proficient. You lose a little bit of that stop speed. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to address this. Moving them to Houston. First of all, I don't think Houston can support a team. It took Dallas a while to support the Stars, a long time to support the Stars. Second, this is not a team that's only moved, a brand expansion team, a team that started there, that's been there. They were the original Winnipeg Jets. Now remember this, the original Winnipeg Jets, and they played so shitty up there that they couldn't stay in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
They took Atlanta Flames, move up to Winnipeg. The Atlanta Flames, what stunk down in Atlanta, move up there, and they have supported them and supported them and supported them. It has been, you want that to work in Arizona? And I do want it to work in Arizona. It's a 3 million people area.
Oh, and I do too. I don't want to sound like I want him to move. I was just thinking.
Well, no, I'm addressing CJ Baskett's comment here.
Yeah.
Right? You need an ownership group.
Guy, it wasn't the Flames that moved to there. The Flames moved to Calgary.
No, the second Atlanta team, the Atlanta Thrashers, moved to Winnipeg.
Get your Flames Thrashers right, buddy.
Did I say Flame? No, I said Atlanta.
I think you said Thrashers.
Oh, okay. I just said Atlanta. I didn't say the name of the team. I didn't say Flames or Thrashers. I just said Atlanta.
All right, guys, everybody out there listening, did he say Flames, or am I just smoking a doobie and I don't know it?
I think I did. I don't think I said Flames. I'm pretty sure I just said Atlanta. But That's what I'm getting at, right? The Atlanta, and maybe I did say Flames, but Atlanta goes up there and they sucked. I'm not even sure about Kansas City, to be honest with you. I think Kansas City would do better with an expansion team.
Yeah.
I don't. Here's the problem. Here's the problem, guys. Hold on. Here's the problem with all of this. It's the ownership group.
Mhm.
This ownership group is not going to make this team successful. They haven't. They haven't since they have not gotten the right talent for an ownership group to make this team successful.
Yeah.
I did say Atlanta.
I was told by a few friends of mine in the Phoenix and Tempe area that, the thing about it is they're not marketed properly. They don't even market them properly in their own area because the owners are too cheap to put the money into marketing.
There you go. Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's the ownership group. And this ownership group doesn't, they move. It's not going to get any different.
And
you need the ownership group that's going to come in. You need a Tom Stillman.
And I want to be very clear because I don't want to, because I have family in Arizona and they love their Arizona teams and stuff. And it's like, I don't want to like sound like I want the Coyotes to move. I don't want
no, because I'll tell you, I know a lot of fans out there, AZ Sports Guy and a bunch of others. Yeah. They bleed hockey like we all do, but there's not a lot of them out there because of the owners and the way they've alienated the people.
Yeah.
And I also go ahead, Guy.
Hey, man.
You know what the Blues did? The Blues didn't make the playoffs and they lowered their prices. In 2005, I bought season tickets for the first time up top. You know what my seats cost me?
Probably $60 a piece, $50 a piece.
No, because the Blues didn't make the playoffs that year, and they were bad the year before. It's either 2.5, 2.6, or 2.6, 2.7. I paid guys $6.50 a ticket for 4. I paid $26 a game for 4 tickets, and unless they do something like that to start bringing people in, I know that I know the cost have went up. Why not have a $15 ticket for the Upper Bowl? Get people in there buying beer, buying hot dogs, buying souvenir, buying jerseys. They haven't tried that.
Yeah. And I just kind of threw Houston out there. I don't know if that's probably the best.
Well, no, somebody CJ put it out there, and that's why
I said move them. I said like Texas as well, but I don't know where the best market would be. But like, you know what I mean. But I don't want to move either. I just want to make.
I don't want another team in Texas. First of all, I think Dallas is right there. I don't think San Antonio works. I'll be honest. I would like to go to a non-standard market. I'd like to go to, and I keep screwing it up, up in Nebraska, or not Nebraska, the place where Warren Buffett lives.
Oh. Iowa?
No,
Montana? South Dakota?
Omaha.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Omaha, guy. There's not enough people there in the surrounding area.
That's Nebraska, isn't it?
Yeah, Omaha. Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska. But I want to get to a non-standard area. Bring hockey into something more up north. Maybe Boise.
Bettman wants more warm cities. That's the problem.
Yeah, well,
I think an Iowa team could be good. I mean, the Wild.
The same thing.
The Iowa Wild. We have I know the Wild. There's the Iowa Wild in Iowa. Yeah. But I mean, I think an Iowa NHL team could be fun as well. I don't know, or a Wisconsin team. Heck, that would be cool too, right?
That would be cool
because they have a pretty similar.
You know what? If Warren Buffett wanted an NHL ready arena, he could have it in a year.
Yeah. Hey, everybody keeps Kansas City because of the Kansas City, Blues back in the 70s, guys.
Yeah.
They weren't supported very well there, and I'm going to tell you right now, I know the pulse of the city of Kansas City, whether it's Missouri or Kansas. They're not putting the money out for an arena. They're just not. People are not going to vote for a tax hike or a hotel tax for that arena.
Well, this isn't bad. I could see. Well, the only issue with Salt Lake is the dryness. Utah is a dry state, right? And because of that, I think it's some of the games, right? Like it's you can't just go buy a beer at the game, right? You can't. You have to get a membership or something like that. There's a whole bunch of rules.
You have to file with that. Sports team like that, and you want to serve beer, you have to file an exemption status and you have to file it under the fact that it's good for the community. It brings money in, so on and so forth.
Well, there's clubs and things, but you can't like just go into you can't go into a bar or a club in Utah. They're members only. You have to join the bar, join the club to get into it. And usually it's free, but that's the way it works. And I think I know they do something with the Jazz, right? The Utah Jazz,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure how it worked. And I think that, and I also think that the one thing that the NHL, my issue with Salt Lake City is, and I'm sorry, this might upset somebody, and it's slightly political, but it's the religious aspect of it. And that does come into play. I'm sorry, it comes into play, and you could have, I don't know. I just see it much harder for a team to move. You would have to have an Salt Lake City ownership group start a team there. I could not see you moving a team there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I've played hockey in Minnesota, and I was offered that scholarship by UMD back in the 80s. I'm going to tell you what. Another team in Minnesota would do much better than a team in Houston, a team in San Antonio, or a team in Kansas City.
Yeah.
There's enough fandom up there to where they could handle another team maybe 100 miles from Minneapolis, something like that.
I don't know if the Wild would allow that.
I mean, I don't know if you can't. I don't know if you could put it. I wouldn't put it in like Duluth. I mean, maybe you could put one, or St. Cloud might be okay. I don't know. I'm only like an hour away from Duluth from where I am right now, and I might get a couple hours away from the cities. But
my point is,
my
point is, there's so much love of hockey in Minnesota that it would do better if they did put a team there than it would in those other warm weather cities. Because you got to build a fan base in warm weather cities. There might be some fans, that are fans of the Stars from Houston or San Antonio, but you've got hockey fans up there. Like I said, they're basically another province of Canada by the way they love their hockey up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Lance is old enough to have played in the 80s. I know how old Lance is. Let me say a big thank you to Richard Cockrell, Jason Nichols, and Tammy Pemberton for putting them thumbs up on Facebook. If you do it on YouTube, I appreciate it. I can't see it. Don't forget to give us some love. Let us know that you enjoy watching the show. We've gone 2 hours today.
I know. I was looking at that.
I graduated from high school, if people are doubting my age, in 1987. So that should tell you my age.
Yeah, that's when I graduated. So,
20. Mine's 2020. So
you're gonna get punched. No, Ian. First of all, dude, we love you on this show.
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure. No, it's great. It's a great show. You guys are fun to hang out with.
Right.
Like,
we what a great show today. What a great show. I was worried about doing a show today because I didn't have everyone to do a playoff preview yet, and then wasn't sure if I was going to be able to jibber jabber as much as I needed to jibber jabber, but this goes to show me that I can do a 4-hour show.
Yeah, well,
I can easily do a 4-hour show if I could line up the guests. I could do a daily 4-hour show. I know I could because we covered some very good topics today.
Do we want all things to win this series, the Blues or Avalanche, before we get off?
Say again?
We want to pick our picks in this series before we get off?
Monday.
Okay.
Well, it's a Monday thing.
Monday.
Right.
Well, I'll let Ian do it because right now, Monday, the way I plan on working Monday is I have at least one Avalanche guest.
Which you can tell me later which one you got.
Yeah, you don't know him, right? You don't know him. I'm hoping to get another one. I know Lance is working on one. I'm working on somebody. What I'm hoping for is to get have Ashley be the moderator over the four of us, right? And Ian, I'll let you answer this question, bud.
I'm an EMT right now, but I am going to be joining a paramedic program starting in August, where I'm going to get my paramedic license.
But I want to get with Ashley, and if we can get the four of us, set up topics that we can roundtable and really go over, break down offense to offense, defense to defense, special teams, power play to power play to penalty kill to power play, goalie to goalie, coach to coach, fan base to fan base. I really want to cover all of that if we can. I don't know, Facebook user, I'm not sure who you are. And I'm at the end of it, so maybe next time we can go with something. But I'm not sure who you are right now, bud. Please put your name down so I know who you are. But I want to break it down that way because I think it will give everybody a much better. Because look, I've already heard the 9 original Avs fans go Blues or Avs in 5. Avs are just going to walk all over the Blues, and I don't see it happening.
I don't think so.
Right? And that Avs fan base, they're not a great fan base. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're kind of
you can
like I don't know. It's like
they're not. They're a transient fan base, and until the last 3 years, right? Before the bubble, you could get tickets. Blues fans would go to Denver to watch the Blues play in Denver. There'd be more Blues fans in that building.
I remember that about 4 or 5 years ago.
Right? When I went to the Colorado or to the Vegas game, I really thought about flying in a day later and going to Colorado, spending the night, and then flying to Vegas because I could have gotten tickets. The same ticket for about half what I paid for it in Vegas.
Yep. Yeah, and real quick, I don't want to be. I'm not trying to bash Colorado fans. Okay, just so
we're not either.
No.
They're kind of they've been kind of cocky, but it's like it's justified until it's not. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Well, but here's the thing: it's not justified. They were cocky. They were cocky in 19. In 19, where'd they end up? They made it to the second round and got bounced by the Sharks. They were cocky in the bubble. What happened? Second round out in the bubble.
Yeah.
They were cocky last year. Second round out to Vegas.
Only lost, and that was a bad way to lose because they lost 4 straight to Vegas. That was that was a rough one for them.
No, it wasn't 4 straight. I think they went down in 6.
No, they went up 2-0 and then they lost the next 4. I'm almost 100%.
Okay.
I can check, but I'm almost 100% positive that's how it played out. But yeah, if you guys want to know my pick, I think I'm going to go very, very safe here. Okay, guys, I'm going to go Avs in 7. Okay, because if you say
that's 7, a safe pick. That's a safe pick.
7, that means that it could go either way. So I'm going to go Avs in 7, but I will not. I'll be pleasantly surprised if the Blues win. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the Blues I actually think the Blues have a better chance of beating the Avalanche than the Wild do.
I think I could. I can.
Hey, and like I said before this series, Minnesota wins if Husso starts all the games in 7. The Blues win in 6 if Bennington starts. That was my prediction, and the Blues won in 6, but Bennington didn't start all the games, so I'm partially right.
Yeah, and I also I want to say. For the Avs, they just I don't know. This is gonna be really interesting because I just don't know what to expect from this series. Because I think it could go one of 2 ways. It's either gonna be blowouts for one of the 2 sides, or it's going 7. There's no in between. I cannot see it going like I don't see it going 6. I think either it goes 4 or it goes 7, and that's where it's gonna be. That's my opinion on the thing. I don't know.
I don't think it goes 4. I don't think it goes 4. There's no way it can go 4.
For either side. I think either the one team is way better than the other team, or it's going 7. That's my opinion.
Oh, by the way, this is Tanner, so she loves us and we know it. Guys, great show tonight. Great show. 2 hours and 10 minutes. Wow.
I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it.
Oh, Ian, anytime, man. It doesn't matter if we're playing them or not. You're welcome. I know you're a good in the chat room. You're very enthusiastic. You take guys. One of the things that I tell guests when they come on here, and a few of them don't believe me, I say stand by. You're going to get asked questions about your team.
Oh yeah.
I know you think this is a Blues channel. It's not. It's a hockey channel, and they're going to ask you questions about your team. I brought. The first time I had my buddy from Full Press, Jim Behringer, on with the Devils, right?
Go real quick, guys. Ian, it was nice to see you, guy. I'll see you on Monday.
Okay, see you, bud.
Take care.
Right? I bring Jim on, and within the first 5 minutes, he's got 3 questions on the Devils.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He's like, whoa, and they were intelligent questions. These guys want to learn about hockey.
Oh, yeah.
I take a little bit of credit for that because I tell them that you need to know more than your team. You need to understand other teams so you can understand your team better.
And that's my big thing. I've really tried because I mean, I've been guilty of that. The last couple years before that, I've been like mostly just a Wild fan, but like I want to be better at knowing other
Yeah.
teams, and I think I've done a better job of that last year and this year, where I've kind of been trying to make an effort to understand other fan bases and how their rosters are constructed.
Yeah, well, look at you. You're becoming a slight podcaster because of this show.
Yeah.
So, the thing about this show and the thing about this sport is it really does bring people together.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
And it gives you, like, I was talking to somebody on Twitter today, and they were telling me that, first of all, I didn't think the Letty trade was a great trade, right? I didn't.
What was it? Is it a 3rd round pick?
No, we gave up a 2nd round, and no, we gave up 2 players. We gave up 2 players, and I don't think we gave up a pick.
Oh, okay.
We may have given up a pick. If we did, it was a 2nd or a 3rd round. But we gave up Wallman and Sundqvist.
Wallman and Sundqvist.
And I liked Wallman. I liked Wallman, but I get where they were going. He wasn't.
Yeah, I liked Sundqvist. I think Sundqvist is a pretty good player as well. I don't know. Do you think he ran his course in St. Louis, or what do you think?
Say again?
Do you think he kind of okay? Here, I got the trade. So it was Sundqvist, Wallman, and a 2nd. That's what it was. Okay, it was 20.
Yeah, and then we got another minor leaguer in Letty. I still think Letty is more of an offensive defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
However, in this series, 5-on-5, he was able to shut down Kaprizov. Hey, I said it right.
He didn't. But like
5-on-5 he did. 5-on-5 he did.
It didn't. Kaprizov, I think he had 4 or 3.
He wasn't in games 2 and 3. Letty was out of games 2 and 3.
No, I know. But I mean, did he have Kaprizov? Did he have? I think it was 2 or it was either 3 or 4 power play goals for Kaprizov. I don't remember.
Yeah, he had a couple power play goals.
Yeah.
But 5-on-5 when Letty was in, especially the last 2 games, he didn't score against Letty.
Yeah, I suppose.
Right?
Did he play game 4? I don't remember if he played game 4.
No, he didn't play game 4. He played. He played. I think he came in 5-5. Yeah, he came in. Actually, might have came in 4. He might have came in 4.
Because I know Kaprizov had a goal in 4, but I think that was a power play goal.
Power play goal.
I think I could be wrong, but yeah. Right. But no, I 100% agree with you. And Letty's one of those players that like.
Game 4, your 2 goals were both power play goals. You were 2 for 2 on the power play.
Yeah. That was the game that I remember. Yeah. And Letty is one of those. He's just one of those players that he's a really mobile defenseman. I think that's kind of the style that really works well against the Wild.
Yeah, well, I mean, but someone was, you don't look deep into the game. I'm going, you don't know me very well. I look very deep into the game.
I tell you what, Atu Radu, I love that pick for the Islanders, by the way. And if he would, I 100% guarantee you that if he failed the next couple of picks, that the Wild would have scooped him up in the 2nd round, because that is a very, very good value. Look at how good he's done this year. That was the only question. I think his floor was like a 3rd line-ish center, because he was already.
Who was this?
Defensively. Atu Radu. He was originally a top prospect last year.
Oh, okay.
But he kind of slipped in the draft because his offensive game hadn't really caught up with his defensive game. But this year, he took that giant leap offensively, and he's looking like he's going to be a very, very good player for the Islanders.
Kyle, I think Letty was in games 4, 5, and 6, to be honest with you. I really do think he was in 4, 5, and 6.
I think he was in 4. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right. Well, hey, great show tonight, guys. 2 hours, 15 minutes. I loved it. Wish we could do it every night and just keep talking. It's great when we have a guest like Ian that wants to talk hockey. We covered a lot of great subjects tonight. We'll see you on Monday. I don't think I'll do one tomorrow, but, stand by. Who knows? I could pop on. Make it sure it's set up. Ian is a Dane 2.0. I agree with that. Dane is her son, and he's very fact oriented.
Yeah, all right.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty kind of like that, I see. Yeah.
Well, guys, have a great night. This is Guy the Y Blues fan for Ian, the Minnesota Wild fan number 57, saying aloha and mahalo, and we'll see you on the next Blue Note Hockey Fan Report. Aloha!